Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Business Spotlight with Martinique. I'm your host, Martinique Brown, and I'm so excited that you have decided to tune into the show today. Today on the show, I have Alicia Blue-Garland, and she is the owner and faux cake decorator of Cakes Beyond the Realm. So, thank you again for being on the show. I'm so excited. You are welcome. You are welcome. So, Alicia, were you always interested in baking cakes?
Yes, actually, I baked cakes for about 30 years before I started doing the faux cakes. So
Wow.
I've always been baking the cakes, and it just transitioned into the faux cakes out of necessity.
Oh, okay. So, how long have you actually been making your faux cakes?
The faux cakes now for 5 years.
Oh, okay. So, I know that you said that you've been actually in the baking industry for over 30 years. How did you get interested in transitioning into creating faux cakes?
Well, like I said, it was born out of necessity. I was getting married, and
Okay.
being the bride and having to prepare and decorate a cake for over 200 people was a really daunting task. And
Okay.
the more I thought about it, I said, no, I'm not going to do this. And so I said, wait, I think I can have a solution for this. I can make the cake months in advance, make a faux cake. It's the fondant is covering the cake. It smells, the aroma is just like cake, the handmade sugar flowers. No one ever knew that it wasn't an actual cake. And it actually, saved time, and it prevented me from being stressed.
Yeah.
That was the birth of faux cakes for me, for Cakes Beyond the World.
But you know what I wonder, because I always wonder this for individuals that's in a profession that they cater to others. So if you did not think of this, I'm kind of surprised that you would have made your own wedding cake.
Oh, yes. I didn't want anyone else to make my cake because I knew of my expertise, my skill set. So I was to be the one to make the cake.
Yeah.
And it solved the problem not only for myself, but for many others that are interested in having something done custom made.
Yeah.
The flexibility and the things that you can do with faux cakes are far exceed what you can do with the real cake.
Okay. And that's really good that you mentioned that. Because how crazy do people really get with their cakes?
Oh, cakes. Now cakes are so extravagant. You can do virtually anything you want to do with a cake. It's just that the integrity of real cakes are sometimes compromised because of them actually being cakes. So they're susceptible to cracking, falling, temperature variances. You don't have any of those problems with a faux cake.
That's
Add
good.
items to the cakes that you aren't allowed to put on food products. So jewels and feathers and things that aren't allowed to be placed on food, you can do that with a faux cake.
That's good. So let me tell y'all something. So I didn't want Alicia just telling you all about how great her cakes are. I want you to be able to see how great her cakes are. So we have a couple of pictures. How long does it take you to make a cake like this?
Well, it depends upon how detailed they want the cake. If you want the handmade flowers, the flowers are all handmade. They're edible, but I wouldn't suggest eating them because of the materials that we use with the cakes. But they're all sugar flowers that are handmade, and so they're to replicate the real flowers. Something like this can be made if I'm notified at least a week in advance. I'll have it done within a couple of days for you.
Okay. So this one, is anything edible on here?
Those are sugar flowers. They're all sugar flowers. They look like they're real, but they're actually sugar flowers.
You did excellent on these flowers. They real, because I was thinking that they were, the flowers that you just buy from Joann Fabrics.
No, those are all sugar flowers.
Wow, that's good.
Thank you.
That's really good. So I know that you actually started making these cakes out of necessity, but I know that sometimes, like when I was a child, I used to see fake pastries and things in like
in the windows.
The windows. So is that how you came up with this is something that I could start doing?
Well, in
In the
actuality,
industry for so long.
right. Well, baking, the concept between the cakes that I do now and real cakes is exactly the same. The cakes are fondant icing are over the cake dummies. So they're covered with fondant. They are handmade sugar flour. So if you were to approach the cake, the aroma is still of a cake. It smells just like a cake. So therefore, you've seen these cakes in bakery windows for years. It's just that they weren't utilized for the actual events until recently.
I
And
understand.
more and more, especially for larger events, it is so much better because you don't have to take away your centerpiece, which for your affair to be taken in the back and dismantled and cut up. Your centerpiece remains in the event, and then you just have the sheet cakes served by the caterer. And it's a huge savings. It's average, like I said, it's about 40 to 45% less than you're going to pay the bakery to make the same cake.
Now, I didn't know that it still has that aroma. That's because of the fondant that you use.
Yes, yes.
They should have some type of cake spray, like that you can squirt, that you can squirt
when you have a real cake, you're not smelling the cake. You're smelling the icing is what you're smelling because the cake is encased in the icing, in the fondant icing.
Okay, and that encasing is, you called it, I think you called it a dummy. What did you call it?
Well, the interior of the faux cakes are styrofoam. They call them styrofoam dummies. They actually look. This is a dummy here.
Okay.
Okay. They're styrofoam, and you're covering it with the fondant icing.
Okay. Okay. So this one is actually fondant, like that gold pellet.
So that's a special treatment. You're taking. That's a
Don't give your secret away. Don't tell us.
On top of the fondant, it's another application of decoration, and it's painted gold.
Oh, okay. What about this black and white? Is that fondant?
Yes, it is. Those are fondant strips.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. I understand. I'm ready to bake. I can do this. That's what, and see, that's the funny thing about people. We just feel like we are so empowered from YouTube. We're like, I can do that. Are you glad that this is something that you are now doing as opposed to, baking real cakes for people?
I am.
Why?
For me, it's the ability to help others because I know how expensive it is to have an affair that you need something really nice, but at the same time you may not have the resources or may not want to plan to spend that much. Mm-hmm. Well, in this instance, you can have something with all of the the grandeur that you want and not have to pay as much for it. So you're helping someone in one aspect, and at the same time, you're in most instances, people don't eat a fourth of the cake, especially at a big affair. They don't consume that cake. So that's wasting. So I want to help people not waste, money and resources and food. And in the instance also, you're having the ability to have decorations that you wouldn't be able to phantom putting on a cake. So you bring dreams to life. Because now if you dream it, we can put it together. We can sketch it, or we can find it on Pinterest, or we can just make it happen.
That's good. That's good. When somebody has a consultation with you and they pick the color of their faux cake, do you let them know, okay, you need to go get your sheet cake needs to be this color? Or like, how does that part work of purchasing the sheet cake?
As far as the sheet cakes are concerned, if you want to have them in the same color scheme, then they can either be, for instance, if you're getting it from a place like Sam's or Costco, they can spray, there's a spray that they can spray the icing that color. So therefore you can coordinate it with the colors of your cake, if that's something you can do. Or if you have, for instance, if you want a personal baker to bake a certain flavored cake for you, you can have the same thing done. But it's still not going to cost you. Your primary cost in cakes are going to be your decoration because you're paying for that expertise.
So would you make, since you know how to make, you've been in the industry for, you like, nope, you already know my question.
The answer is no.
Really? But I'm like, I want my sheet cake to look just like my faux cake.
Well, you can't achieve the color because that's the primary thing. Your base color for your cake, which should be the color that's coordinated with your sheet cake. So that's not a issue. It's just that I don't do any food preparation anymore because I'm licensed to do the faux cakes.
Hold on. Hold on. You have to have license for everything. I'm surprised I don't have to have a license just to do these shows. You have to have a license to do that?
Of course.
Why?
If you're baking, I mean, there are some bakers that aren't licensed, but they take a chance on liability when they're baking without one. But if you have a business and you're baking, then you need to be in a commercial kitchen. You need to be, regulated by the FDA. There's certain regulations that you have to abide by. And the reason, there are also some bakers now that will incorporate a faux cake to make the cake look bigger. But the problem that you have with doing that, especially if you're using, I use jewels, I use crystals, Swarovski crystals and pearls and things that aren't edible.
Right.
And if that were to fall in the portion of the cake that's consumable, you have a problem with someone possibly getting sick, choking, something of that nature. So you don't want to do that.
Okay, so you're not saying that you have to have a license to do your faux cakes.
No. I'm licensed to do the faux cakes, but what I'm saying is for the food, you're asking, do I want to bake? If I wanted to bake something, no, I'm not involving any food in my product.
Because you don't have that license. But are you saying that you have to have a license to do the faux cakes?
No, I'm licensed with the city and the county to do the faux cakes. Yes.
As a business. You're just saying as a business. Okay.
As a business, yes.
Okay. I thought,
I cannot integrate food into my product.
Because your license specifically does not.
Yes, because I deal with items that if they were mixed with food can possibly cause a hazard for someone. You don't want someone to choke on a pearl or a crystal or something of that nature if it were incorporated into the cake.
Right. I understand. And we actually have Justin Bruno that has tuned into the show. Justin has a great question that I was going to ask you. Justin asks, what would you say are the pros and cons of faux cakes?
Okay, I'll start out with the pros.
Okay. There are no cons, Justin.
No cons. The pros of a faux cakes are, first and foremost, the savings. Mm-hmm. You can do the cakes in advance. There are no temperature variances. There's no cracking. You can customize the cake any way you want. The cakes are prepared. When they're done. I have them done approximately a month before your event. So you're able to see your final. Most instances, you walk in and you don't see your cake until you walk into the event. Therefore, if it's something that's not of your liking, it's too late. Well, in this instance, you see it ahead of time. If there's minor customizations that you want to make done, we can do that. If your contract will indicate everything that's done. But if you want to make some minor changes, we can have that done. We want you to be pleased. Mm-hmm. And so therefore they can travel longer distances. You don't have to deal with the heat or the cold weather. We can take them to, other cities if it's close by, other cities and possibly another state. Yeah. But they transition, for instance, for a baby shower, they transition from the baby shower to the nursery. So that's something that you keep in there for approximately another 3 or 4 years as decoration. And they're mementos for anniversaries or, any occasion that you want something to have around for a while. It's a good moment. Graduation cakes, you have those available to you. Graduates like to have that around to look at and see it afterwards. So there's a lot of the handmade expertise. There are no visible indications as to whether the cakes are going to crack. And also for large events, they love those cakes because the caterers in the large event venues, they don't have to deal with taking apart a cake. So therefore, it expedites things. You can spend more time on your event rather than having to worry about serving a cake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you want to touch on his con question?
The cons. Realistically, the only cons that I could foresee is someone saying, well, I can't celebrate my cake cutting ceremony because and then my answer to that is yes, I have an opening where you simulate cutting the cake, and then you just have a piece of cake on the side that the bride and groom they share with one another. And the only other con someone could possibly bring up is that the fact that they don't have that first piece for the anniversary that freeze. And but in most instances, people don't eat that anymore. It's a I don't say it's not eliminated that tradition, but most people don't observe it anymore. So those are the only two cons that I can see. If anyone else has a con that they want to discuss, I'm willing to talk about it.
Right. And that's good that you said that you can actually put a knife into the cake. We actually have a picture for that, everyone. So this is actually a faux cake, and you put the knife there, correct?
Yes, I have the opening already there, and I, show it to them ahead of time. So therefore, they know where their opening is, and so they just insert the knife and go through the cake cutting ceremony, and therefore, then they have a piece on a saucer on the side that they pick up and serve to one another.
Okay.
So for visual purposes and the ceremonial aspect of the affair, you're able to go through that. It's not eliminated.
Okay. That's really good. And I was also thinking about when you were talking about the tradition of eating your cake a year later.
Yeah.
You can do that with your sheet cake. You can freeze.
Of course you can. You can
Yeah.
freeze that.
I don't know.
Many people don't observe that anymore. And it's a pro and con. You have to weigh your options. You're saving on an average. Say if you had a $600 cake from a bakery, okay, here you're going to pay, approximately $400 at that. And then you're going to get so much more as far as the integrity of the cake, being able to keep the cake afterwards, or you can sell your cake, you can rent your cake, or in some instances, I offer to buy it back just for the parts. But in any aspect of it, you're still walking away with something. You're not leaving your money behind you.
So when you were actually talking about selling the cake back to you, what does that look like?
Well, in that instance, for instance, if they don't want to sell the cake themselves, they can actually sell it to someone else or rent it themselves. For me, I would actually just be dismantling the cake and using the parts. That's it.
Okay.
So it's not, you're not getting half of your investment back. No, it's not a big amount, but depending upon the size of the cake, you're getting something back. So, it depends upon the cake and, the condition of the cake also after the event, if it's something I can use.
Right.
You're not walking away from everything, or you very well can keep it and, do it yourself. Some people put them on eBay and sell them. So,
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that is amazing. The crazy thing about it, how you were just saying that you can sell it on eBay, you can literally find everything to purchase on the internet. Now, something that I never thought or even would think that Walmart would sell, they sell caskets.
Of course.
And so just the idea of being able to purchase my cake from online like that, I think that's kind of risky.
I mean, they do it with wedding dresses. They do it with, you have Poshmark now for clothes. So it's something, if you have a cake that was custom made for you, once you're done, if you don't want to keep it for yourself, at least you have an opportunity to recoup a portion of your money.
Yeah. But I just feel like I'm just trying to speak for the viewers. I feel like we are not used to thinking about the possibilities of something like that being purchased. We still have to get over the fact that we can purchase a faux cake. Now you saying we could possibly purchase a cake from somebody else, online. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of questions on the floor. Ashira Brinson, she asks, do I have the option to use real flowers on the cake?
You have the option to use real flowers, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that that's something that you have to use immediately, before the event. So that's definitely something we can incorporate in there. But those flowers are susceptible to, if they wither or fail, the heat, the conditions are, but we definitely can use them. It's just that you have to assume that when you use them, you want them done time allocated right before your event. So we can they can insert into certain devices where they keep the water in them, but they definitely can be. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good question.
No problem.
Justin, one of the Bruno brothers, because we got two Brunos watching. So he said, how far in advance should someone make plans to get a cake from you, a faux cake from you?
If it's in a cake for a large event, I need at least a month or two notice.
Okay.
So you can, because I do so many cakes at a time. Once they're on, I'm fully booked, then I can't take any more cakes for that time period.
Okay.
Smaller cake, I would still say at least a month, because it gives me time to see if I have the availability to make the cake, because they're all custom made.
Okay. The cakes, and we have a lot of people that's saying, Alicia, oh, this is a great idea, this is so neat. Shira also asked, she has a wedding coming up, do you provide specialized tables to display your cakes? I don't understand that. Do you understand that question?
Specialized tables?
She said, do you provide specialized tables to display your cake? So I'm guessing, like, the bottom where you display the cake. Maybe she's asking that. But she said tables, not plates.
Maybe the decorative, the covers for the tables, the applique.
Let's see. Ashira, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? So, Ashira, go ahead and just clarify a little bit more about that question. And I think it's really great that you are answering people's questions, just because I think that's what makes people hesitant on trying something new, because they're so used to these real cakes. They got to get hip to these faux cakes.
And it's not eliminating the special cake that you like. You want those special flavors. You want that special red velvet cake or the chocolate cake or the filling. You can still have all of that in your sheet cake.
Okay.
And you're still saving considerably, because if you were to have a decorative cake made with all of that, it would be considerably much more. So you're able to get all of the grandeur you want here in the presentation, and save over here. So it's actually much more flexible for you. You're getting two paint birds in one, because you're saving so much. And that other money, I mean, I had a cake recently where the bride saved almost $1,000. So that's money that you're using towards possibly your other things for the wedding, or your honeymoon, or your home that you're into. So if you can save something and still get everything you want, and then possibly sell it at the end. Wow.
I know that's right. That's good, because Alicia, I'm not married, but I be hearing that these weddings be ridiculously expensive. Ashira said like a see-through table. So she wants to have a special table, just a display table. Okay.
You can do that, but that would be acquired by her decorator. Something like that would be, we just have to make sure that we coordinated that the weight of the cake can be accommodated by the table.
So I know that you said that you can have this cake, a client's cake, done possibly like a month in advance.
Yes.
do you keep that cake,
Yes,
as storage for that person?
yes, yes. I
Oh,
would
that's
keep the
really
cake.
good.
They don't have to worry about it. I keep the cake, and just as you would pay someone to deliver your real cake, you just, make accommodations to pay for the delivery of this cake. But I would assure that it's kept, but at least you can actually see the cake. It's
Before.
complete. That's one less thing you have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. So to me, that's an advantage because I know what my cake looks like. I'm pleased with the final product.
Yeah. So I know that individuals can actually keep their cake after their special occasion is over. How does somebody maintain that integrity of their cake
And
after?
most
Well,
people,
after.
I think the cake that you're looking at, the cake that was done, I did this for a Prince event on an international drive. And
Okay.
to Prince. This cake was done 4 years ago.
Wow, are you serious?
Yes, yes. I'm almost 4 years. It's been almost 4 years. Yes, and
So
there's absolutely, it's in good condition. It's not covered. It's in good condition, and they last for years.
that's amazing. So, but do you have to dust it off and stuff? I guess that's within
Well,
it.
I've not had any dust accumulate on it. I try to keep that, keep it, dust free in here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, I would imagine if you're in an environment that accumulates a lot of dust, then you may want to place a plastic over it or something.
Over
But
it. Uh-huh.
if you're in an area that a normal household or won't accumulate any dust,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
virtually maintenance free.
So if somebody did want to transition their cake, from marriage to baby shower, can they just bring you their cake and they say, okay, this is the new thing that I want my cake to
No,
look
no. When
like?
I said, excuse me, when I said transition, I meant from the actual event. For instance, if I've had done baby shower cakes and they take the cake from the shower into the nursery as decoration.
Oh,
That type of transitioning, not remaking the cake. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get you some different type of clients right there. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna use this for like birthday parties and so I know that you did mention that you would service other states, and you're in the Orlando area.
I
What
am.
other areas do you service?
For instance, I've had a client inquire about taking a cake to Atlanta. So that's
Okay.
not, so far away. As far as flying, shipping the cakes, I wouldn't recommend that because of the delicacy of the flowers, because they are susceptible to cracking. And I couldn't assure that it would arrive without any defect. So I wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But if you guys live in a different state, because I know we have a lot of people that are actually tuning in nationwide. If look, just give Alicia a call, just let her know, what type of cake you would like, and then she can just have that consultation with you if that is something she could possibly do for your event. So, Ashira said, I've seen very nice tables, high top round, where the cakes was displayed, but I wanted to know if she offered tables to rent. So, Ashira, no, ma'am, she don't do it. No, that's actually like she was just saying before. That's actually something that your decorator, your
Wedding
what do they call
coordinator,
them?
wedding
Wedding
coordinator,
wedding
yes, they would arrange to
coordinator.
have that done. Yes.
You would set that up. But shoot, we know everything can be purchased online, so you can find one. But Sharonda Black, her statement is, she says, "Wow, I just saw the cakes on the website. I saw a cake at a party that was rented, but it did not compare to the cakes on your website." Oh, that's good. I know. I'm telling you, everybody, go ahead and check out Alicia's website. It's in the description box. And I think the interesting thing about this is, although you may not need a cake right now, other people, and so that's why it's good to just go ahead and share that information with your friends and families, and coworkers and things like that. So can you actually just walk us through the process of somebody ordering a cake from you?
Sure. Once you decide that you have an event, if you have an idea, if you don't have an idea of what your color scheme is or what your theme of your party is, we can discuss that. But we would sit down, and some people have already seen a cake that they like.
Mm-hmm.
Or for instance, I've had a cake that someone said, well, I like this, I don't like this aspect of it, or I want it more modernized, or I want it more traditional.
Yeah.
What we can do is we can sketch out the cakes, or we can place the cake on the iPad, and then you can go and make changes to the actual cake,
Okay.
and when we come with the final decision, what we do is incorporate that into try and visualize it as much as possible for the customer so they can see what they want. But
Okay.
as far as colors, decorations, or if you want it to be have that 3D effect where you're seeing portions of it come out and everything, there's actually no limit to what you can do if you actually is more of a possibility to attain what you want when you're dealing with the faux cakes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so we sit down and go through that process. You make a 50% deposit on your cake.
Mm-hmm.
Remaining, depending upon the type of event, if it's something that's a wedding, within 30 days before your wedding or your large event, then you will make the remaining balance that's due. You would pay
Okay.
that. And then the cakes are delivered to you. We have someone to sign off that they're delivered and they're in good condition when it's done. And hopefully you're able to sell it again or rent it
Right.
out, or you'll have some ability to recoup whatever you've invested at the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And before this show, before I started asking these questions to you, I was thinking, that you was actually staying at the event for a good portion of time. So I was thinking deliver the cake, and then you go to the back and you're the one that's cutting up the sheet
No,
cake
no,
and
no,
everything.
no. Just as you would have a regular if a baker
Catering for.
deliver a cake, we deliver the cakes and have either your coordinator or someone sign that the cake is there. We take pictures of it there. But then,
Okay.
but at that time, your caterer, at the time that you would normally, after you've done your cake cutting ceremony, at that point, they've already had your cake set up to be served.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to wait it like you in normal instances. You have to wait for them to cart the cake off and dismantle it
Yeah.
and cut it up and serve it. So you're saving time. It's efficient, especially for hotels and wedding venues. They love faux cakes because
Yeah.
they don't have to deal, and caterers love it also because all they have to do is cut your sheet cakes up, put them on the plates, and serve them to your guests.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't have to stay.
Yeah. 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 I was about to say you a busy lady. So Becky also made a comment. She said, "Oh my goodness, I just saw your wedding cake on your
Oh, she did.
Instagram page." She said, "Oh wow, beautiful." So, what would you actually say to somebody who believes that purchasing a faux cake is just a waste of money?
Well, for all of the reasons that we've discussed up until this point,
Mm-hmm.
I would go to the advantages of a faux cake. And the faux cakes are something that are extremely versatile. You're getting actually more for your money because you're getting the grandeur, you're getting the opulence that you want. And for people that want to have something and at the same time save, um, I would venture to say, how is that a waste?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not walking away from your investment as you would with the real cake. You're Even if it's not eaten, it's still there. You're walking out the door and it's behind you. But
Yeah.
in this instance, you have something to show for it that you can take with you, you can sell, or whatever the case may be, and you're not paying as much as you would for the bakery cake.
Mm-hmm.
So it is something that appeals to um, once people, I would say, with knowledge, there's power.
Right.
So when we equip ourselves to know more about something,
Tell them, Alicia.
yeah.
I want to show you all one of her collegiate cakes. Shout out to Bethune Cookman in the house. So now all this is fondant, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
all of it is fondant, and the that's something that the graduate will have for, a long time. She can put that in her well, hopefully she'll have her own new home. So she's a graduate now soon, but if she's still at home in her bedroom, or it's something that you can look at and say, hey, this is an accomplishment I made, and I really relish it when I look at it. So it's a nice memento.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So now I know that we actually talked about your cakes aren't only for weddings.
What a sweet 16 is that?
Right. And baby showers. But, Sweet 16, this is a great example of a Sweet 16 extravagant cake. She got the pearls, she got the lace. It's beautiful.
And when you talk about young girls, that's what they want, and they want it to stay there for the entire event, not to be parted away and cut up. So this is something that, they can talk about, enjoy, take pictures with, and have a really nice time. And afterwards, this cake, very well, you take the 16 off of the top and you can sell that, and it can be used for anniversary, birthday, wedding, so.
That is so true. But you know what, Alicia, let me ask you this, because I feel that when you're dealing with clients who may not have an idea of what they want, how do you keep your patience with showing them so many selections and saying, okay, you can do this, you can do that? Is this just some experience that you have, learned?
You sit down and you talk to people, and you get an idea of what they like, what they don't like, what their style is. All of that is incorporated into the cake, and these cakes are a reflection of you.
That's good.
So you want them to feel comfortable with their cake.
Right. I mean, because this is just beautiful, because sometimes I think about, sometimes you could just be so one track, have that one track mind and set what you want. And then you start seeing these pictures. You're like, oh, heck, I'm back at square one. This is...
We'll narrow it down.
But I just really like how, like this first one, how every single layer has a different texture to it. I love that. It's so beautiful. Is this a industry now? Is this a niche in the industry that's really taking off?
It's definitely taking off now, because people are seeing the advantages of it. When I started doing it, I got a little bit of pushback. People were a little bit reluctant, but you have to realize this is a niche market. So for those people that are just, headstrong on having a real cake, I salute them. You should definitely have what you want.
Right.
For those out there that's why I call the company Cakes Beyond the Realm, because when you think beyond the ordinary, you want something that's just, people to wow, about. And that's what your cake should be. Your cake should be a reflection of your experience, what you want your affair to just walk. You want people to walk away and say, wow, know? Right. So that's Cakes Beyond the Realm. I want to provide to you an experience that you wouldn't have had elsewhere.
And because there are other places to get their faux cakes, why is Cakes Beyond the Realm the best place to get their cake from? Why should people?
Because you're going to get the attention to detail. We're going to, like I said, we're going to sit down and talk with you and understand exactly what you want. And you can be assured that you're going to get top expertise. It's going to be something that I'll devote my time to, make sure you're pleased with your product. And I guarantee you that you won't see anything else like it.
That's good. That's good. And I think another thing, just to reiterate with your credentials, it's not like you just started this yesterday. You had years, you had 30 years of experience.
Over 30 years. It's just that I'm no longer baking.
Yeah.
Any cake that you purchase, a decorative cake, the majority of your investment is going towards just that, the decoration. That's good. Like a dress, when you have a custom made dress, that's the same type of thing.
Right, right. Well, Alicia, I just thank you so much for just helping us have a better understanding of what a faux cake can look like, how it can really just exceed our expectations. And I just really appreciate you for being on the show.
I sincerely appreciate you having me, Martinique.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I thank you all, the viewers, just for taking time to post your questions as well as your comments, because this really helped you all to have a better understanding of what your next cake can possibly look like. And so, again, make sure you visit Cakes Beyond the Realm, the website, so you can have a better understanding of the different options of cakes that you could possibly have at your next special occasion. Make sure you go ahead and share this video now to other individuals, and make sure you follow and like our Facebook page. And if you haven't visited my YouTube channel yet, please go ahead and go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to that. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.